Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is SockBot, and today we are doing a somewhat relaxed video compared to all of the stuff going on in the background right now. Because right now, if you didn't see my last video, I am working on my Christmas level in Little Big Planet for this year. This is, in the past 2 years, I guess, become sort of a tradition to make levels like this, because this is what I used to do when I first started playing Little Big Planet. I would always make, like, seasonal levels for my friends to play when we would get together on the weekends, because what else are you gonna do in, like, the suburbs? Not play video games? Anyways, today I wanted to go back to my Christmas level from last year, because this one is going to be a continuation of this level, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and I think that this is more of a personal thing, but also I know that a lot of creators out there probably have similar reactions to their own levels, and artists in general, when you look at your own work, although I don't know if I'd call myself an artist to much of an extent. When you look at your own work, it can be kind of like self-deprecating and not super excitable. But if you look at it after a year or so, I've realized you get a lot more clarity on if it was good or not. And that is why I'm here. And I'm not to say don't be self-critical of your art, because definitely do that. But yeah, maybe come back to it after a while too, because I have realized how much that has helped me and how much that has reminded me to not hate on myself as much as I probably should, or as much as I probably do. Not should. There it is again. Alright, so this is the Christmas level. I briefly want to talk about this starting area, because I don't think I talked about this level much last year, but this is just supposed to be a big living room with a big staircase, and it's kind of hard to see. And there's like a door here, and if you come all the way over here, you actually get the story of the level, which initially was supposed to be like you being shrunken. And so there's actually 3 different sizes of this, which unfortunately I can't get to right now, but there's 3 different sizes of just this exact living room, and scaling stuff like that was very weird and didn't work super well, but well, there we go. And so I'm going to run back to the other side and show you the living room real quick, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so here is a couch, which I just did very simply. I think you'll notice that in my levels, a lot of the assets that aren't super important, I don't spend a ridiculous amount of time on, and I'm still kind of working on getting certain things down, like how am I supposed to make a door that opens this way, but or looks like it does, but I don't know. The sides of these materials are one of the weaker points of Little Big Planet's materials, and also I'm too lazy to deal with those weaker points because I would much rather focus on something that people are actually going to see in this level, and that's kind of what happened when I was creating this level. I decided very, like, far through, about 2/3 of the way through, that I wasn't going to finish this initial section where it was supposed to be switching between the 3 big different houses that essentially you shrink down and have to traverse the different ornaments of your Christmas tree to find your dad's shrink ray, because of course your dad's a scientist. But I will say, in this entire level, this is probably the most unique thing in here. I've never seen an obstacle exactly like this, where you have to kind of like hold on, and it's just flips back and forth, and you have to like kind of climb it while sporadically holding on. I don't know, it's something new, but yeah, here we are at the actual platforming size of the ornaments. So initially you're supposed to go into the ornaments and then out of the ornaments, back to the normal sized tree, and it's supposed to be like a shrinking, growing thing, but I just decided to make it more like ethereal and weird, and you can see like the big plug there from the Christmas lights that's electrified, but it's a bit of a strange level, and one of the things I will say about this level is I did a lot of things that I tend to recommend that I do that sometimes I don't always follow my own advice for, but one of those was actually try to make the obstacles, rather the dangers, like that plug there, things that make sense as opposed to just horrible gas that kills you if you go outside the level, because it's not something that I think is necessary, and even like big games like Mario, you just fall out of the world and die, and that's not a big deal, but I wanted a little bit more, and I feel like if you, oh, actually, this is something I want to talk about real briefly. Oh, almost killed me. Like, if you do create extra things to up your level a little bit, I feel like making your hazards more fitting to your level as opposed to just, falling out of the level and not completing the obstacle you created. It's an interesting way to just up it a little bit, as are things like this, where her ponytail is the checkpoint, which I thought was so cool when I made it, and I still think it's really cool, honestly. It's not that big of a deal, but Yeah, so the whole background of this is like different tree branches and different lights, but this is actually a completely repainted and reskinned version of one of the dancers from, what was it, from the temple levels in Little Big Planet 1, because I was like, oh, I want to create a ballerina, and I was like, I know there's something in the created objects that did this, and I found it, and obviously it took me hours if you watch the recreation of the creation video from last year, which I will link if you want to go watch it. But it took me hours to get it to actually do this pirouette or whatever you call it in ballet. I didn't take ballet, but this, and I'm very proud of it. And also, it actually kind of looks like a person. Equally proud of that because it wasn't too difficult. But then, so this was like the point in the level where I was like, that shattered ornament thing at the beginning was such a good idea, but I didn't do it justice. I should have done far more, and so I ended up making 2 more of these things, just because it was like the most simple ornament. I feel like you could do a lot of interesting things with that to add some more fun gameplay. And then here we are at these wonderful, what are they called? Not wreaths. The little the things. There was a lot of stuttering. The things that you wrap around the tree that kind of look like tree. They look like feather boas, but they're not feather boas. I have no idea what they're called for some reason right now, and well, that's embarrassing. But yeah, this is the other shattered ornament, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. I don't know, I'm like going back through this, and I think that some of my reservations from last year, which were largely not just that it felt unfinished, because this is very close to the end. I think this actually might be the end. But more, I don't know, just disconnected, I guess. So there's like a whole other section in here that's still in the level, but isn't accessible because I didn't refine it enough. So there's like these snow globe ornaments that you kind of slide through like an old glass slide, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I was more planning on talking about this video of like how I think about the level, but honestly, I think it's still decent. I didn't have as big of like a revelation when replaying this just now as I did in past years, I guess, or earlier this year when I was playing some of my old levels, because I think it is still very recent, but I still think it's decent. I think the ideas are really interesting. I just think that there needs to be more that connects my different ornaments and possibly explores them a little bit more, because there's a bunch of different ornaments, but one of the reasons why things tend to feel disconnected in levels, at least this is what I've realized about my own levels, and other people's too, is if you have all of these different ideas, but you only explore them once, it tends to feel less cohesive. So, like, the fact that I had a snow globe ornament where you're building a snowman, which, you know, may or may not have been influenced by watching Frozen right before I created this last year. I know I was late to the game, but it's just, if I'd explored that in multiple ornaments in a row, it may have felt like, oh, that's the snowman section, and then the next section could be the shattered ornament section. But I think that my goal for this was to make all of the ornaments self-contained enough for them to take long enough for the level to be interesting and for it to still feel cohesive. And I think that when you want it to still look like an ornament, it can't be too big, or it's just going to feel like a different level. It's not really going to fulfill the fantasy I was going for. And so I think this was a good idea. I think I just needed to put multiple of the same ornaments next to each other. Like that one section where you're jumping through things, it was pretty interesting, like jumping across the bouncing ornaments. That was probably my favorite part. I was trying to go for like a old pinball type thing with that, but well, I guess let me know if it did anything for you. But yes, this is available on PSN, so feel free to go play it. I am thinking about updating some parts of this while I make the second one, but creating the next sequel to this is more important, just because, like I said, it does end very quickly at the end there with no wrapping up or whatever. But I do want to go back and kind of reintroduce the story idea for this level, because it was interesting, even if I'm not going to do it to the extent that I was planning on it. But yeah, that's the Christmas level. Feel free to go check it out. It is around, I guess that's Northern Europe on my Earth. I tried to reorganize some things to make more sense as to where they would be in the world, like the Mexican Adventure and the Hollywood Tower Hotel, and I guess space is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But yeah, feel free to go check that out. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. I'm going to immediately after this edit this video and then go on to working far too many hours on Christmas level for this year. So hopefully I can get it done before, well, before next year, I guess. But hopefully we'll see. I guess. Yeah. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.